What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on EI Entertainment Studios, back at it with another debate video. Today's debate video, we're going to be talking about legendary Mechagodzilla, or we could just call him Mechagodzilla 2021 versus Shin Biollante. So here's the plan, folks. We're going to go over the backstories and basically analyze these two giant creatures, and once we're completed with that, we're going to put them up against each other in a death battle. So without further ado, let's begin with the backstory of the main culprit, Mechagodzilla. So Mechagodzilla was created by the Apex Cybernetics and powered through King Ghidorah's cut-off head, as we see that in the post-credits scene of Godzilla King of the Monsters. However, as the robot was made to basically destroy Godzilla and take over the world, King Ghidorah's consciousness takes over and completely controls the robot, making it more of a menace than it was ever meant to be. So, pretty interesting, not too deep, but as I said, pretty interesting backstory for Mechagodzilla. It makes perfect sense in the legendary monsterverse. Now, for abilities, we're going to do a quick skim right now. We're going to finish off Mechagodzilla, and then we'll come back before we move on to Shin Biollante and do a deep analysis of every single ability. So I'm just doing a quick skim right now, so don't worry. So quick skim for abilities for Mechagodzilla goes as follows. Buzzsaw claws, heavy metal durability, missiles, proton scream, thrusters, and tail drill. Now, I've rated the Territorial as none. However, aggression levels are indeed maximum for this kaiju. And the biome has been rated at Earth, however it can travel to space if it wanted to. Height is approximately 119.8 meters tall. Okay, now we can go back to the abilities and do a deep analysis. So, first we have Buzzsaw claws. So basically, on his claws, he does, or near his claws at least, he does have a saw-like mechanism that could basically cut into or through flesh. Very powerful ability, kind of reminds me of Gigan with his saw on the chest, but obviously these are way smaller, way more smaller, but it kind of does deal as the same purpose. So it's the best analogy or comparison that I can give you. After that, we have the heavy metal durability. Basically, it's just the material that Mechagodzilla was made of is pretty durable, although with the power of two kaijus, it can be destroyed, teaming up, especially Kong ripping him up at the end of Godzilla vs. Kong. Overall, though, in the general sense, he is a very durable kaiju because of the way he was made. After that, he has missiles. On his body, he does have missiles, and these missiles are nowhere going to hurt any kaiju. Maybe some kaiju, maybe Mothra, they might do some damage, but most kaiju who are much more stronger, they won't. It'll maybe stun them at the most, but it won't definitely do any type of damage to them. So they're not there to. They're not even there to do damage. They're there to stun, right? After that, we have the Proton Scream. This is basically his version, or I should say Mechagodzilla's version of the Atomic Breath. It's a red kind of laser type of a blast, as I should say, and it's basically called the Proton Scream, and it's way more stronger than Godzilla's Atomic Breath. We saw that, and it's very powerful. There is a scene in Godzilla vs. Kong where Godzilla and Mechagodzilla go at it with their atomic breaths. Obviously, Mechagodzilla with his Proton Scream and Godzilla with his atomic breath, and the Proton Scream overpowers it. So it is way more powerful, and it's basically his version of the atomic breath. And it's red, by the way, if I didn't say that already. After that, Mechagodzilla actually has the ability to thrust left and right quickly, allowing him to kind of pursue his opponents or evade his opponents, do a punching attack on his opponents, and all of that good stuff. It's an extra boost from left to right. And finally, he has something called a tail drill. At the end of the tail, he has a drill that could basically drill into the opponent's flesh and possibly even kill them, depending on where he's going to be drilling the opponents. Alright folks, This is going to completely sum up Mechagodzilla 2021. Now let's move on. The next opponent, Shin Biollante. So, Shin Biollante came into existence when the coagulant that was sprayed into Shin Godzilla's mouth right before he froze, one of the small humanoids was able to fall off the tail before all of them froze. From a long fall, the humanoid was bleeding and looked for a place to rest, and happened to come across a field of roses, and thought that they could indeed be food. The humanoid started eating all those roses, and his DNA mixed with the roses he had devoured, including the blood he spilled on the ones he did not eat. The roses came alive and decapitated the humanoid and formed Shin Biollante. As I said before, very, very gruesome. But it is how Shin Biollante has came to be, in my opinion. That's how his backstory is. So this backstory obviously was made up by me. The height of Shin Biollante is incredibly humongous, ranging at 252 meters tall. Now, abilities, we're going to do a quick skim. And then, same process. So, quick skim, finish him off, come back to the abilities, and do a deep analysis for her. Okay. So first we have the spiked atomic laser, 10,000 tentacles, tentacle poison laser, regeneration, instant adaptation, and the false heart trap. Cool. Territorial level is high, aggression level is low, biome is unlimited, and I will explain that in the ability, so do not worry for that one. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's go back to the abilities and let's do a deep analysis of every single ability. So first we have the spiked atomic laser. So this comes from the DNA of Shin Godzilla partially, right? Shin Godzilla has the atomic laser. Now, this is Shin Biollante having thorns in her DNA because she is a rose. Roses have thorns. There are giant thorns in this atomic laser that come from the mouth of Shin Biollante. So to even clarify even better, imagine an atomic laser, and inside of that atomic laser there are giant, super sharp thorns that just destroy and rip up the flesh and make organs explode. That's what this is. The spiked atomic laser. It can come out from the mouth or all over the body. You can shoot multiple lasers at once. And they are focused, so it is obviously very powerful. Next we have 10,000 tentacles. Yes, a regular Biollante would have 4 tentacles. This Biollante, or I should say this variant of Biollante, known as Shin Biollante, has 10,000 of those tentacles. And if that wasn't enough, the tentacles themselves, not only having their own mouths and their own teeth and all that stuff, they actually have their own abilities, known as the tentacle poison laser. And the tentacle poison laser has a numbing ability that numbs the opponent, and they cannot feel pain. So they don't know when to retreat, and they can't retreat because, as I said, they don't know how to retreat because they can't feel pain. And they could be attacking while their whole flesh is being ripped apart, and they wouldn't even know it. Very powerful, powerful ability for Shin Biollante. Next we have regeneration. This comes from Shin DNA. Shin Biollante can regenerate at a very fast pace. So if she isn't put down quickly, she will get her health back quite quickly. After that we have instant adaptation. This comes from Shin DNA, and this also will be explaining why Shin Biollante's biome is unlimited. Now, Shin DNA, as we know, regular Shin from the movie Shin Godzilla, he has many forms. Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and then Form 4. The reason why he forms or changes his forms is because he has the evolutionary adaptation, and depending on the environment, he will evolve in a specific way. Now, taking this in, if he wanted to, technically, he can evolve in a way to live in space, to only stay underwater. And now Shin Biollante, she has taken that evolutionary trait of that DNA into her own body, and she can evolve and adapt according to whatever situation she needs to be, and that's why her biome is unlimited. Next, we have the false heart trap, which is the final trap of Biollante, or I should call Shin Biollante. And so this is very important because Biollante itself has a heart. And if you've ever watched Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla destroys Biollante off of that heart. Now this one is obviously a more evolved creature, and that heart is no longer the actual heart of Biollante, but instead is actually a mirror, and it attracts the opponents because it actually does look like a heart, and it looks like a point where it could be very weak. And whatever ability the creatures use, it is directly mirrored onto them. Let me say that again. It is directly mirrored onto them. Very, very powerful. So where is her brain? Her brain is actually right next, or actually not the brain, excuse me, the heart. Where is the heart? The heart is right next to the brain. So they're right next to each other, and that false heart trap is a mirror. So a quick example, obviously it's not in this debate, but I'm giving you an example. If Godzilla were to use his atomic breath on Shin Biollante's false heart trap, the atomic breath would literally hit the false heart trap and mirror right back at Godzilla and hurt him, his own atomic breath. That's the best example I can give you. Alright folks, this will sum up both kaijus. Now what we can do, and which we will do, is put them up against each other in a death battle. Now we're gonna rate them best out of 2. Might we go to overtime? I can't tell you. It's possible. And I will explain that if we do get there, so let's not waste time on that. Let's waste time on the good stuff. How am I scoring this? It is best of 2, obviously, as I said, based off of close range and far range. Now what does that mean? Why do I do them, and what does that mean? Close range is just all-out war, all the abilities, whoever is the better one will win, and we'll test them out as I said. Far range is a more interesting way of testing them out because not all opponents can use all of their abilities in the terms of far range. So we limit their abilities and see at limited capacity of abilities, can they still defend themselves and can they still win a battle? It's a very powerful and important way of testing an ability of the opponents out, of how they can win a battle, if they even can. So that's what we're going to do now. We'll do far range first and then close range. So without further ado, let's see what abilities Mechagodzilla Legendary Version can use in terms of far range. Now what is the far range? They cannot come closer than 700 meters apart, which means they have to be and are 700 meters apart, meaning obviously no to 0%, absolutely zero physical contact. No physical contact. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what the abilities are, or which they can use. So Mechagodzilla. Buzzsaw claws, obviously that requires physical touch, cannot be used. Heavy metal durability is a defensive mechanism, has nothing to do with this, so fine. Missiles, yes, they're meant to go far distance. Proton Scream, yes, made to go far distance. Thrusters, defensive-wise, yes, offensive, no. Tail Drill, no, because Tail Drill needs physical touch. Okay, basically, he can use the missiles and the Proton Scream. Still a good amount of powerful abilities that he can use, but not all of them, right? Because it is limited now. Well, let's check Shin Biollante. Spike Atomic Laser, of course, she can use that. 10,000 Tentacles, defensive, yes, offensive, no. Tentacle Poison Laser, no, they're not meant to go far distance. Regeneration is a defensive mechanism, so yes, that is okay. There is no problem with that whatsoever. Instant Adaptation is a biochemical thing that's going on in the opponent or the specific kaiju we're talking about. Has nothing to do with where the opponent is, so that also does not matter. False Heart Trap also will not be working. For 700 meters apart, the False Heart Trap will not mirror effectively, therefore will not be used. So the ability that she can use is a Spiked Atomic Laser, and that's basically it. So, in a battle, this is interesting. Although we are calling him Mechagodzilla, he is technically King Ghidorah because of the consciousness. King Ghidorah is an alpha predator and is ready to take on an opponent. Shin Biollante, I see as being a more calm kaiju, only provoked to anger when she sees a threat. So I see Mechagodzilla being the first one to initiate this battle with the Proton Scream. And that right there, the Proton Scream is going to do a lot, and I mean a lot of damage to Shin Biollante. Very powerful laser, very, very powerful, and is going to cut the flesh, cut thousands of the tentacles from Shin Biollante off with the first hit. The missiles are not going to do as much damage. Obviously, they're going to keep on stunning Shin Biollante, but obviously Shin Biollante is going to defend herself, and she is going to use a very, very powerful ability, and that is which? The spiked atomic laser. Now remember, this is a laser, which itself is very powerful, and it has giant thorns in them. Especially for this battle, it's going to be very useful. The lasers are going to cause a lot of damage to Mechagodzilla, but not only that, the thorns are going to bang up the metal a lot, and at one point, remember this, Shin Biollante can actually multitask this and shoot thousands of lasers from every single pore of her body. You know, you have pores on your skin, that's what I'm comparing it to, which it is. She has pores on her skin, and she can use those atomic lasers from every single pore. That could evaluate to, let's say, maybe 1,600 to 3,000 lasers. Spiked atomic lasers with the thorns in them. All of them focusing on Mechagodzilla, even though Mechagodzilla can use the missiles and can thrust here and there, try to provoke Shin Biollante, even with the Proton Scream. The fact that she can use the spiked atomic laser will destroy Mechagodzilla. There is no way I see Mechagodzilla surviving this. So therefore, in terms of far range, the winner is going to be Shin Biollante. The score for now is 1-0. Let's go to close range and see what happens now. Completely different. Now, let's take this into consideration. Very big information as well. Shin Biollante stands 252 meters tall, where Mechagodzilla Legendary version stands 119.8 meters tall. Massive. Both are pretty giant creatures, but massive, massive difference, especially when it comes to Shin Biollante. So girth and power and strength is going to be given to Shin Biollante, and these creatures are going to attack each other. And when they ram directly into each other, even though Mechagodzilla is pure steel and powerful, very well built, Shin Biollante is going to absolutely smash Mechagodzilla to the ground. And Mechagodzilla, obviously, with the heavy metal durability, is gonna sustain and is gonna, sustain in the damage and kind of stay there, but to a point. And at this point where Mechagodzilla is definitely going to be held to the ground because Shin Biollante is way too powerful, Mechagodzilla's grave mistake is going to be this, and this is the only outcome I see, is using the Proton Scream. And the biggest part of the body is the false heart trap. Remember, this is close range. It's going to hit the false heart trap, mirror directly back to him, and completely blow the head off of Mechagodzilla. That's how I see it happening, folks. So again, the winner is going to be Shin Biollante. In close range and far range, 2-0 will be the final culprit. Obviously, you can debate me in the comment section below. This is just my opinion on this. You can, as I just said, yeah, you can debate me in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great and wonderful day.